It is Thursday, March 27th, and I wanted to come on here because I have just two things that I wanted to cover. The first thing is actually a premonitory dream that I had, and it's the second one that I've had this month, so I thought I better get that out there somehow, just in case. I don't normally have premonitions or dreams like this, but I've had two of them. And last night it was so vivid. It was an airplane crash. If you saw my March reading on YouTube, I did predict that we would have a plane crash, or there would be a big plane crash in the third week of March, so around the third week of March, and we're almost at the second thing that I wanted to talk about was the sweetest story that happened to me today. I went into Witch Chest and was setting up, or had just finished setting up with my tea leaf reading, and I overheard a mother and her daughter. The daughter must have been about probably 7, that's what I'm thinking, and they just sort of found the shop they had never been in before, and it's always fun to hear the people going, "Oh, this is so cool, what a great shop this is," and you know, they don't expect to come into this very wonderful smelling shop, which is called Witch Chest in Ottawa on Bank Street, just so you know, witchchest.ca. And so I overheard them talking to the person that works there, and at the shop, when people buy things, they're able to either pick like a little piece of jewelry that says something on it, or lately they've had these tiny little tarot cards, so you can pick one out. So, and whatever you get, it's supposed to be a message for that person. And this little girl picked out a card, and I heard them oohing and awing about the card, and talking to the person who was working there, and like, what does this mean? What does this mean? Because it didn't have any text on it. It was just the image and then the number 3. So I overheard them saying, "Well, could we ask her," meaning me, what the tarot card means? And so they came over and showed me the card and said, "Can you tell us what this card means? My daughter picked it." And I looked at it. There's number 3, and I don't know what deck it was, but I could tell that it was what I call the apprentice card. It was the 3 of Pentacles. And so I started explaining the 3 of Pentacles, and I said, "Oh, wait a second, I have my tarot deck here," because I always bring it with me just in case I'm not busy and I want to study it. And so I have this book and the deck. It's the Witch's Garden Tarot, and I do cover the Witch's Garden Tarot a lot in my readings on YouTube. But I said, "Oh, let me show you the meaning, at least in this deck." And then you'll see I've got a bookmark here. I opened up my book and look at what page it was on. The bookmark was on the 3 of Pentacles, the exact card that that little girl had picked out. Wait, I'm using one hand here. But it was on the 3 of Pentacles. So that was so sweet. They fell into this witch shop, didn't know much about witchcraft. I heard them asking a lot of questions about how magic works and how tarot works and things like that. And here what happens is something serendipitous. And I said, well, that's really typical of what happens with working with spirit and with spirituality and with the universe. That's a message from the universe for you. And then we got into a conversation about, I said, "Is your daughter an artist, or does she like to do artwork?" And then, of course, yes, she did. And so I was sort of describing the person in the 3 of Pentacles who was working on a sculpture in the picture she had. So it's amazing the connections you can make when you're talking about intuitive things and spiritual things and witchy things. And you never know who's going to be excited by it, or the spark that might happen with something so serendipitous. So Thank you for listening, and talk to you soon. Bye bye.